Hey, Ron. Acey Slade and the Dark Party. Welcome to London.
Pardon?
Welcome to London.
Speak English.
I'm not English. Take it or lose it.
Where are you from?
Italy.
Italy? Oh.
Yes. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's bellissimo.
Have you ever played there?
Yeah. Many times.
Are you going with this tour?
No, not on this tour, unfortunately. I wish.
When are you going there next?
Ooh, maybe in the spring, I hope. This one, well, we're doing mostly central and southern England, and then we'll head down to Wales, and then we'll head over to Ireland, back into England, Germany, and then we end in the Czech Republic. It's been out for probably about a year. Yeah. The idea behind the music was, at least for me, to kind of make an album for rock people, metal people, whatever you want to call it, that was different from everything else that they were listening to, that they could still, you know, get into. So it's got elements of rock in it, it's got elements of goth in it, you know, it's got elements of rock in it, but it's a bit more laid back in some ways. So the idea was basically, you know, when you get done at the end of the night at the bar and you want to listen to something to kind of come down to on your way home, that's the idea behind the CD. Yeah, it's very easy, so that's why we picked it. Actually, believe it or not, it's a very hard song because it kind of does the same thing the whole time. You know, and if I fuck up the lyrics, if I fuck up the vocals, the whole song falls apart. So at first it was like, oh, it's an easy song, and then you start playing it like, well, wait, where are we at in the song, you know? So I just love the cult, and kind of part of the idea with this band was to pay a bit of homage to some of the bands I grew up listening to that weren't more on the rock side. Like, I grew up in an area where there weren't a lot of people, so the goths and the punks and the metalheads all kind of had to hang out together. It wasn't segregated, and as a result, we were all always turning onto each other onto new bands and new music. So I had friends that were turning me on to 9 Inch Nails, The Skinny Puppy, and then the Cult Love album is one of my favorites. And Cult's probably one of my favorite bands for the very reason that they change with every album. And that's what I hope to do with this band as well. The next album's not going to sound like the album that we just did. Furthermore, the other thing too is it seems like every time somebody comes out with something these days, they always say, oh, it's our best record, it's the heaviest thing we've ever done. But heavy doesn't mean better. You know, nobody ever says, well, we decided to work with a theremin, or I don't know, some sort of new instruments, or just kind of coming at things from a new angle. And that's what I wanted to do with this. You know, I know how to play 3 chords very fucking well, but I wanted to try working with a drum and bass producer. I wanted to play songs that weren't necessarily what I know how to do and know how to do well. So, you know, yeah. I would hope by spring of next year. Trashlight Vision were very, we had a direction and we had a format that we fit in, you know, and it was cool. It was a great band, great guys, you know, very much in that 3 chords and a cloud of dust type attitude, you know. Whereas this band's a bit more refined, it's a bit more polished. Again, I'm not afraid to say that. Yeah, I think that's probably the main difference. This band's a bit more musical, which isn't to say anything bad, because, you know, the Ramones weren't a very musical band, but they were a great band. So I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I kind of wanted to make an effort to throw in some odd time signatures and play in new keys and things like that. So that's the main difference between Trashlight and this band. You know, the personalities are different, and musically it's different too. Well, with the last album, it was the first time I ever wrote around vocal melodies. Usually I sit down with the guitar, I come up with a riff, and then I show it to the band, and then I put the vocals on top. This time around, my drum and bass producer guy, I might come up with a riff, give it to him, let him fuck around with it, and then I put the vocal melody to it. Or I would come up with a vocal melody, sing it to him, and he would write some music around it. So I wasn't really writing on the guitar for the first record. The new record, I'm back to writing on guitar. So the new record will be a bit more guitar heavy, and I think it probably will for that writing reason, probably be a little bit more like some of my previous bands. But that's not a backpedal. It's just, all right, well, I tried something new. I kind of like the way I was doing things better. So. The After Party EP was available with, I believe, the first few copies of the album. You know, it's hard to get people to buy music these days, and for me, I'm always about giving back. I'm a very grateful person. I'm grateful to anyone who buys my album. At the same time, I think that really, I don't think anybody's got really more than good 10 songs on their album. So I wanted to keep the album and then give people extra as well. You know, I like the idea of an album being the unit, you know. So yeah, there's the After Party EP, and now on this tour, anybody who buys any merch at our tour is going to get a download code for a free EP, which has 3 cover songs, a live song, a remix, and a brand new demo song. Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know, I think part of it is that, you know, people see my gratitude, and I don't think that that's something a lot of bands have. You know, I don't think that a lot of bands really give back to the people that, you know, keep them on tour, you know. I'm very aware of the fact that everybody who comes through this door tonight is keeping me on tour, you know, and I'm grateful for that, you know. I mean, there's people who don't even leave their state or county or whatever, let alone go to another country. It's a privilege to be able to do this. And I think that shows. And I always give 100%. Whether there's 5 people there or 5,000, I always give my best. And I think that's why they've followed me. I think there's even a lot of people who maybe aren't as into the Dark Party record as they've been in my old bands, but still come out and support me because through me trying to do something different, I'm not trying to resell them something they've already bought. You know, so I think it's a bit of like, well, you know, hey, I'm not as into this first Dark Party record, but Acey's always spot on live, so, you know, I'll come out. So. Just be true to yourself. I mean, that's the most important thing. Always, always be true to yourself. You know, if you try to cash in on any current trends, by the time you kind of get that off the ground, you're going to be a step behind all the people that are coming with anyway. So yeah, I would say just be true to yourself and always do what there we go. What you feel is in your heart, you know. Okay. And work your ass off. My sex tip?
Yeah.
Me? My sex tip would be quality is far better than quantity. And you can take that to mean whatever you want, but that's primarily my advice.
Okay.
Quality over quantity. Just thank you to everybody